Right, what's been holding things up? Loads of shelves, basically. Loads of stuff. Problems with the old parents to deal with and things like that. And shelf building. And particularly shelves that pull the wall off. There's this one here. Now I have built, you can get floating shelves these days, can't you? But I have built shelves over doorways before. I couldn't get easily a single board that would run all the way across, and I wouldn't trust it anyway. So this is two boards, and they are bracketed together. I'm going to bracket more. Yes, I know there's screws coming through. I'll tell you about that in a second. The other thing about doing that is that obviously you can't put a bracket here getting any support that way. So there's a bracket the other way up, which is far less wonderful. And I thought, well, it won't be strong enough, so I'll put two in. I'll put the first one in, and it's in plasterboard, obviously. So I put the usual very strong rawl plugs in, and then I put another bracket. No, I didn't even get another bracket in. And then I came back the next day and it was pulling the wall apart. I don't know what kind of plasterboard this is, but it seems to be all plaster and no board. I can tell you that for nothing. I've seen that happen once or twice before, but not as bad as this. So I kind of had to rebuild the wall, and then I've put board across the wall, acting like a baton, and screwed that in quite a lot. And now I have restored the old bracket, which was running there, and put a new bracket in there to give extra strength, and there's a bracket there on the other board. The screws are running through because obviously with the board falling down I had to do some emergency work, so I've put whacking great screws in, and some which run through into this kind of mega chipboard lip. And then there's a bracket there, and this has taken so much that I've run out of the right kind of bracket, because I need one at this end and I need one at that end to stop the board tipping backwards. And it's all based on the fact that there was already, see that wooden kind of post, doesn't come all the way down, it's a baton but it looks like a post there. Another one there, and I thought, well, I'll work with them. I shouldn't have, I should have taken them off. So that is the problem. And then there's more shelves going on indoors. A big shelving unit gone up, and there'll be more. And then one next door in the office, or possibly some. I might extend this one, but make it a little bit lower so I can put bigger stuff in, across this wall. I don't want to go too far because I'm then into the model railway, which obviously I've had to get loads of stuff off and move because the shelves are falling down, so now we can't get on the model railway, even though it's not done. Everything has knock-on effects, doesn't it? So up there I'm putting the heaviest things I can find. I choked. I'm not laughing at my own joke. Actually I'm not. I'm putting very light things, and a lot of these are models I've found as I've been unpacking to get all of this in motion, so to speak. There's a big stack of junk here, loads of boxes that I hadn't even got into. So we are going to have a look into these. Look at this, 1/35 German half tracks, plural, for repair. German armour, 1/35. Just the word Heller is enough to, you know, fill one with horror. World War I tank, 1/35. That German half track, yeah, looking forward to that. Forgotten all about that. 20, can you see that? 28mm Knights, etc. Arthurian, all sorts. So we will be dealing with that over time. And then there's the stash. Yeah, I'm not going to live long enough for all this. We'll get back to that another day. That's a concept, isn't it? What of this strange young fella? Well, he's another thing that's come out of a box. He's not that old. He's laser printed And actually I think I've got, here we go, a card from the people who made him. Technically he's a statue and he came with a base. I've put the base somewhere else, which is foolish. If I find it again I'll show it. 3D Printing Valley. There you go. It's quite good. He's part of a series you can get. He's a young priest. You can get old priests and this and that and the other, all the way down to one with a skull, who's quite nice. I was painting him up for something and I can't remember what or why. And I wanted him to be like a high priest, and I wanted to get away from the idea that they're all dressed in white and have pointy hats and things. I can remember that, but I do not know what on earth I was doing, and he looks a bit unfinished. So there he is, a high priest for this time of year, but I don't really like the colours, so I might do him in brown or black, and that will be a bit more boring and a bit more traditional. So I don't know, maybe I'll leave him, but anyway I found him, and found him just at the right moment for this time of year, so I'll have a think and we'll see what happens next. Oh, and I should have said he's quite big. You can get him in different scales I believe, but I've gone for that. There's a 1/72 elephant tank. And another thing about his colours, I was just thinking, oh, I could give him a wash, couldn't I? That might improve him. But I'm concerned that because you have these bedding bands, it's just a mass of little horizontal lines, and they create grooves. The wash is just going to go into those. It's quite good. It looks like he's got heavily threaded fabric, but I don't know what a wash is going to do, so I'm going to paint him brown or black. I could give him a wash first and see what happens. That might work out. There comes a time when you've got to know when to stop, so to speak. I keep saying that, don't I? Anyway, here we are. I think we have got there. Just excuse me a moment. A swarm of bees has arrived. I don't know. You might be able to hear them. They're going. Good. They were here yesterday. Bit of a nuisance. Anyway, what on earth was I on about? Well, yeah, he seems to have got to a point where he's happy. And I just looked at him and thought, yeah, that's kind of it. There's a natural look about him. He seems to be somebody he's inhabiting himself, kind of thing. I don't know what I'm saying, but he's there, whether I like it or not. I'd have liked to have had more colour, because I think these guys wore colour a long time ago, way before the Druids. Well, let's not fixate on the Druids. And these fellas really, you know, probably wore colour according to what their job was going to be at that time, and according to which festival they were celebrating and so on. But here he is looking a little dour, so just works with the model. I think that's the thing, because there isn't a great deal of detail, because really he's a sculpture. So there he is, our little fellow. He's a nice figure actually, and in the promotional photographs they have a whole bunch of these in an arc on their stands, and they do look impressive, so I do like them. Now, what might he be doing? Well, it's the solstice, isn't it? So yeah, we think of Stonehenge, might know about Avebury, or whatever our local little stone circle might be, or stone row, or standing stone. So I've got him a stone. They don't always stand up. This one isn't going to stand up at all. They don't always stand up like Stonehenge ones, like bolt upright. And the other thing is there may have been other qualities to them which aren't there. Stonehenge, recent stuff, and some old folk have been saying, but recent stuff has shown that some henges, particularly the ditch and bank cut into chalk, may have had sort of carved symbols cut into them. And I've always got the impression that your standing stone, oh, you were standing up a minute ago. Blech. Your standing stone might have been painted according to the festival. Let's get that to stand up. It was standing up, it looked great, leaning back slightly. Here we are. Now, it's very interesting that bees turned up right at that moment. And that bees are the great pollinators. They seem to sustain an awful lot of life on Earth. We can't do it. The human world can't do without them and all of that. They turned up. Must be symbolic. Rather like divination through the flight of birds. But anyway, here we are with a simple sun wheel on our stone, which is probably the precursor of, well, a lot of people obviously make connections with the swastika, which we're not allowed to talk about anymore. The peace symbol, the swastika, and it's also the precursor, it seems to me to be the precursor to the yin and yang symbol. Although some people think that's the oldest one, which is quite a universal symbol. It's not reserved to the Far East. And you end up with links with chariot wheels, burning barrel festivals, and really it's just fascinating symbol for the sun, which obviously is an important thing right now in the middle of its cycle around the Earth, the longest day and all that. I'm kind of drifting a bit here, but I'm going into my own imagination. But yeah, I get the impression that the stones were often painted and washed. I get the impression that the stone sites were cleansed beforehand, and people often say, well, how come it didn't get overgrown? They didn't have lawn mowers, and they didn't have, tractors with stuff to clear it all up. Well, they put in goats and sheep, and then you have a cleansing ritual, and you wash out all their excreta, and then you do the big festival. So that seems to be the process. There's also sacrifice, isn't there? There is what is clearly a sacrificial stone not too far off. I wonder if I've got a photograph of it. I'll drop it in if I can find it. Most of the time, sacrifice was probably very, very willing people, and some people may have spent years in preparation for it, being probably an awful lot of cleansing rituals again, and groomed physically, like male grooming for it. A lot of people found in bogs seem to have been given manicures, been fed on great stuff right up until the last minute when they're given a fascinating porridge with hallucinogens in it and things like that, and broths. Their hair's superb, they seem to be in fantastic health, and they're usually moderately young, like in their late 20s and 30s, because these people have got a job to do. They're going to talk to the gods, so they take our messages to the gods, and the gods aren't going to want to talk to lowly waste products, people like you and I. The other thing is criminals. A lot of criminality was probably executed at this time, and that is more for the gods to feed on. So their deaths could be quite nasty, because the gods can feed on energy and blood. So there's two types, naughty people and the special people. The naughty people don't really get to talk to the gods. So That's the kind of thing that's going on. The other thing is animal sacrifice, which is just dinner. Let's face it. And if you're going to have to sacrifice an ox or a chicken or whatever, then you might as well, you know, add another layer of benefit to that poor creature's demise. Oh, we're off onto a dark one here, aren't we? But anyway, here we are with our man. There's also other types of sacrifice that are worth considering, which is more material, like wealth. You bury wealth there, or you scatter wealth there, or even flowers. These are things that the gods appreciate, and of course alcohol, libation. So I think today, me and my team are going to light some bonfires and libate to our heart's content. Probably, here's an irony, old speckled hen or bishop's finger. Bishop's finger. Here we are, we're done.